Astral magic like a Renaissance mage. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. This is Taliesin McKnight. And today, what we're doing is we're getting little tidbits of classical magic in these videos. So if you're watching these videos, you're getting little bits of classical magic in here. So it's a whole magical education going on. Today we're going to go into some of the classical sources to learn more about the seven sacred planets. And this is really a preparation as we go a little bit deeper and deeper into astrological magic and more of a traditional kind of a Renaissance mage approach to working with the seven sacred planets. So thank you so much for tuning into these videos. So first of all, I've provided some links in case anybody wants to buy any of these books that I have here. First of all, we'll be reading from the Key of Solomon. The Key of Solomon. And yesterday I talked a little bit about planetary hours. There's an excellent app called Planetary Times. It's got like a 7-pointed star thing on there. And it works really well. And I've tested it. It is accurate. Planetary Times. You can get that on your phone. You could also calculate planetary hours yourself by hand if you know sunset and sunrise. But anyways, this is the Key of Solomon. And I provided a link to this exact book I hold in my hands. This is the Mathers version, which is part of the Colorno family of the Key of Solomon. Now, Mathers actually puts this together from, I think, 7 different manuscripts. But we're going to get into this. The Key of Solomon, and he's talking about things that you can do using planetary hours. And by extension, basically what you can do with the 7 sacred planets. So this chapter right here, Book 1, Chapter 2 of the Colorno Key of Solomon, this second chapter is the go-to place for looking at what kind of magic you can do with the 7 sacred planets. So let's take a look here. Book 1, Chapter 2, of the days and hours and of the virtues of the planets from the Key of Solomon, which is like the classic, grimoire par excellence of the Renaissance. When thou wishest to make any experiment or operation, thou must first prepare beforehand all the requisites which thou wilt find described in the following chapters, the days, hours, and other things. But let's move on here. So it talks about the planetary hours. So let's just jump right in here. Hi, Dina. How are you doing today? It's great to see you here. I saw you there. How are you doing? Dina's been on my videos, my Facebook for years here. So from the Key of Solomon here. In the days and hours of Saturn. So it's starting off with the planet Saturn. Wow, she shared my video. I feel special. All right. So and then I'm also going to upload this to YouTube as well. But if people want to catch me live, they got to go to my Facebook. Now I've got the 5,000 friend limit. But if you hit follow, it's the same thing. All of the stuff that I put on my Facebook is all public. So if you just hit the follow button, it's the same as a friend. Anyways, back to this. The Key of Solomon, Book 1, Chapter 2. In the days and hours of Saturn. So here it's talking about the things that you can do with Saturn. Planet Saturn for magic. In the days and hours of Saturn, thou canst perform experiments to summon the souls from Hades. So necromancy. If you want to work with the dead, the days and hours of Saturn. So Saturn can help you to work with the dead in necromancy here. Hi, Max. How are you doing today? So With Saturn, thou canst perform experiments to summon the souls from Hades. So, to summon the dead, necromancy. But only those who have died a natural death. So, people that die of old age or from illness. People that died like a violent death or someone that died in battle. That would be more associated with Mars, by the way. But anyways, for Saturn, with Saturn, thou canst perform experiments to summon the souls from Hades, summon the dead, necromancy, but only of those who have died a natural death. Similarly, on these days and hours, thou canst operate to bring either good or bad fortune to buildings. So if you want to bless a business or a building, or if you want to curse a building, to have familiar spirits attend thee in sleep. So if you want to have spirits talk to you in your dreams, totally different from the Shem angel stuff. I don't want people to get confused. This is talking about something a little different. But if you just in general want to have familiar spirits attend you in sleep, to cause good or ill success to business, possessions, goods, seeds, fruits, and similar things. So Saturn, a fortunate Saturn especially, could bring good business. Saturn can bless, and Saturn can also curse. So it can bring good success or ill to businesses, possessions, goods, seeds, fruits, and similar things associated with planting too in agriculture. In order to acquire learning, Saturn is the planet of philosophy. In order to acquire learning, to bring destruction and to give death, and to sow hatred and discord. Clearly, there's no Wiccan read here in the Renaissance manuals. People have to follow what they feel is best for their conscience. I think it's best to avoid destructive magic. But like modern magicians, some modern occultists, kind of new age, they tend to project this whole ethic that is a very modern type of thing. I think it's best to try to spread more goodness in the world in general. But you see in these Renaissance, texts, they're not following like a reed or anything. But anyways, so that is Saturn. The days and hours of Jupiter, so these are things you can do with Jupiter, are proper for obtaining honors, acquiring riches, yes please, contracting friendships, preserving health, and arriving in all that thou canst desire. So Jupiter is very beneficent. In the days and hours of Mars, so here's Mars, thou canst make experiments regarding war, that's a given, to arrive at military honor, to acquire courage, so to help you with courage, that's in the Key of Solomon, to overthrow enemies, and further to cause ruin, slaughter, cruelty, discord, to wound, and to give death. Again, I'm not putting any kind of moral I'm just reading from the text here. The days and hours of the sun are very good for perfecting experiments regarding temporal wealth, hope, gain, fortune. So the sun is for success and business and fortune, divination, which is interesting, the favor of princes, or you could say just people in authority, to dissolve hostile feeling, and to make friends. The days and hours of Venus are good for forming friendships. So it's not just finding a romantic partner and having dates, y'all. Venus could also just help, let's just be friends, Venus can help with friendships as well, and popularity. So the days and hours of Venus are good for forming friendships, for kindness and love, for joyous and pleasant undertakings, and for traveling. Let's say you're going to have a party and you want to work with Venus just to bring up a light, positive atmosphere. You can put things associated with Venus around, which helps to attract and draw that force. Now we're getting into a little Marsilio Ficino, but the days and hours of Mercury are good to operate for eloquence and intelligence, any kind of communication. Also, eloquence and intelligence, promptitude in business, science and divination, wonders, apparitions, and answers regarding the future. Thou canst also operate under this planet for thefts, writing, deceit, and merchandise. Also, later on, the Key of Solomon goes into how, for spirit communication, if it's not a spirit of a certain planet, there's like no specific, you don't know what planet, Mercury can just be used generally for spirit communication. All right. The days and hours of the moon are good for embassies, voyages, envoys, messages, navigation, reconciliations, if you want to reconcile with somebody, the moon, love, and the acquisition of merchandise by water. Thou shouldst take care punctually to observe all the instructions contained in this chapter. Okay, anyways. The hours of Saturn, of Mars, and of the moon are alike good for communicating and speaking with spirits. Saturn, Mars, and the moon. As those of Mercury are for recovering thefts by the means of spirits, and lost objects and stuff too. The hours of Mars serve for summoning the souls from Hades, especially those slain in battle. The hours of the Sun, Jupiter, and of Venus are adaptable for preparing any operations whatsoever of love, of kindness, and of invisibility, as is hereafter more fully shown. So anyways, it goes on and on and on. Here's something and of course Mercury could also be used for gambling, games of chance, things like that. The hours of Mercury are good for undertaking experiments relating to games, that's what I just said, raillery, jests, sports, and the like. The hours of competitions and stuff too. The hours of the Sun, of Jupiter, and of Venus, particularly on the days in which they rule, are good for all extraordinary, uncommon, and unknown operations. The hours of the moon are proper for making trial of experiments relating to recovery of stolen property. This is for the moon. Recovery of stolen property, for obtaining nocturnal visions, so like visions while you sleep, for summoning spirits in sleep. Right here in the Key of Solomon, it's talking about dream magic and using dreams to work with entities. Right here in the Key of Solomon, for summoning spirits in sleep, and for preparing anything related to water. The hours of Venus are furthermore useful for lots, poisons, all things of the nature of Venus, for preparing powers, provocative of madness and like things. Now here's something interesting, because it's talking about the moon. For those matters then which appertain unto the moon, such as the invocation of spirits, the works of necromancy, and the recovery of stolen property, it is necessary that the moon should be in an earthy sign, Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. But if you're working with the moon for love, grace, and invisibility, then the moon should be in a fiery sign, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. If you're working with the moon for hatred, discord, and destruction, the moon should be in a watery sign, Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. And if you're working with the moon for experiments of a peculiar nature, which cannot be classed under any certain head, the moon should be in an Aries sign, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Now next it goes into the waxing phase of the moon to bring stuff in, and the waning phase of the moon to get rid of stuff. See, a lot of the stuff that we see, and I'm not throwing shade in any way on neo-pagan at all. Not throwing any shade on neo-paganism, but a lot of that stuff came from the Key of Solomon. Right here, it says, "But if these things seem unto thee difficult to accomplish, it will suffice thee merely to notice the moon after her combustion or conjunction with the sun." And it's not talking about eclipses, it's talking about full and new moon. "Especially just when she quits his beams and appeareth visible. For then it is good to make all experiments for construction." It's talking about a waxing moon, a growing moon, increasing. "For then it is good to make all experiments for the construction and operation of any matter. That is why the time from the new unto the full moon is proper for performing any of the experiments of which we have spoken above. But in her decrease, so when the moon is waning, in her decrease or wane, it is good for war, disturbance, and discord. Likewise, the period when she is almost deprived of light is proper for experiments of invisibility and of death. So anyways, that's enough of that one. That is the Key of Solomon. I provided a link. And Gypsy says, I see you. I see you too. Well, I see your comment. Now, the veritable Key of... There's so many different versions of the Key of Solomon. Most of them not published on Amazon, though. Most of them are like manuscripts in libraries or digital copies, and, But Stephen Skinner did a great job on this, Most of you already know about this, of course. Pretty basic. The Veritable Key of Solomon of published by Stephen Skinner and David Rankin. The complete version. I actually did an interview with David Rankin. I used to say Rankine. He was like, no, it's Rankin. They're all one thing good about this is it goes into the history and the different manuscripts, and it has 3 different versions of the Key of Solomon. It has the Colorno, which is what we see with the Mathers version that I just read, and the Colorno. And then it has the Rabbi Solomon, which incorporates a lot of stuff from the Heptameron and stuff, and then the Universal Treatise. So this is pretty cool. Now here, I opened it up, and, it's a lot of Agrippa here. This is the Rabbi Solomon version of the Key of Solomon. You see a lot of Agrippa. These are the characters of the planets, and there's the seal of the planets, okay? And it mentions Soroth, which is the angel, and Soroth, not the angel, the demon or spirit, and intelligence, Nachiel. Okay, it goes through here, you've got the Solomonic Pentacles, and it goes through, it even mentions the Olympic spirits. Right here, for the sun, it says Olk. That's one of the Olympic spirits, and it has the magical squares. And right here, full, or pull so it's got the planetary spirits and intelligences from Agrippa in here. It has, I am not like a classical grimoire magician. I am not. There's a lot involved in that. There are a lot of people that have spent their lives getting into that. And because I believe these things are real and potentially dangerous, I think it's best to study that with somebody that is like what they do. You don't learn something like that from someone like me that incorporates aspects and but for stuff like that, it's good to learn from, in my opinion, it's not good to butcher grimoire. It's best to learn something like by the book, and then you can kind of innovate after you already kind of understand the traditional method. But I use a lot of stuff out of these classical grimoires, like right here on page 98. And I'm going to provide a link for this, the Veritable Key of Solomon. Right here on page 98. Simple perfumes or incenses for the 7 planets. So at the days and hours of the planet, the Key of Solomon gives you simple recipes for incense. On Sunday, red sandalwood. I'd also put like frankincense, but on Sunday, red sandalwood. That's the Key of Solomon. On Monday, aloe wood. Which is not aloe vera. Nope, not at all. Aloes wood is, dang it, I made a whole video about this. Aloes wood, you can get online. I forgot what the technical, anyways, it's not aloe vera, it's aloes wood. For Tuesday, pepper. That could be a little pungent. Maybe put a little bit of pepper with some tobacco is what I would use for, on Wednesday, drops of mastic resin. On Thursday, saffron. On Friday, ginger, costus. On Saturday, brimstone or sulfur. Now, the footnote Stephen Skinner or David Rankin, you did a good job with this footnote. Sulfur is very dangerous to burn in enclosed spaces for health reasons. It may be better to use a saturnine herb like poppy seed. Anyways, so you have the incenses of the 7 planets. We learn a little bit about the 7 planets. And we go into Cornelius Agrippa quite a bit in these videos. The 3 books of occult philosophy. And actually this video is a little bit of a preparation because pretty soon we're going to be going through like all these different correspondences and the planets and how to construct a ritual. So again, the title of this video is, do astral magic like a Renaissance mage. So we're going into these classical sources from the Renaissance, In these videos, you're getting like little doses of this classical magic type of stuff. But the 3 books of occult philosophy, we're going more and more into this. And so this video is just kind of a preparation for that. Another good one is the Picatrix. The Picatrix is, or Picatrix. This is the great classic of the Middle Ages of medieval magic that was very important in the Renaissance. It was published in the 12th century, 11th, 12th century. The Picatrix. This is the granddaddy of all granddaddies of this classical magic. So we're looking at the Key of Solomon, 3 books of occult philosophy, Picatrix. So let's see what the Picatrix says. So now we have an idea. We read through the workings of the planets from the Key of Solomon. We know that for thefts or finding lost property, we can go to Mercury. We know that if we want courage, we can go to Mars, okay? We know that if we want friendships, Venus. If we want success in business, we can go to Jupiter or the sun. So we know a little bit about the different planets and what they govern from the Key of Solomon. So let's see what Picatrix has to say. Again, I'm going to provide a link. So this is actually pretty interesting because it talks about wearing the clothing. Wearing the clothing of the planet. It says when you want to talk to Mars, dress like a soldier in battle, carrying weapons. When you want to talk to Venus, it says to dress like a beautiful woman. And assuming it was probably, dudes reading this, when you talk to the sun, dress like a king. So it's pretty interesting. Let's take a look at this. So we're looking at Picatrix, Book 3, Chapter 7. This is page 166 of this. When you wish to pray to Mars, this was published in like the 12th, 11th century, right? It's about 1,000 years old, just about. When you wish to pray to Mars, so this is what Renaissance magicians were drawing from. Renaissance people in the Renaissance, they were reading Picatrix. So this is what Renaissance mages were reading. So when you wish to pray to Mars, I'm on page 166. When you wish to ask Mars for something and speak to him and honor him, put him in a good condition, as we have said before concerning Saturn. Dress yourself in red garments. This is medieval magic. Dress yourself in red garments. And put a red linen or silk cloth on your head, as well as a red skull cap. And hang a sword from your neck. Hang a sword from your neck. And arm yourself with all the weapons you can carry. And dress yourself in the manner of a soldier or a fighter. So you're making like sympathetic, you're dressing like a soldier to go invoke Mars. It's pretty interesting. And put on a bronze ring on your finger, or iron. Take a bronze thurible with burning charcoal in which you should put the following suffumigation. And then it gives this long recipe on how to make a Mars incense from scratch from this medieval text. Pretty cool. And then it's got a prayer for Mars. Okay, so let's take a look at, and then it's got spells to avenge yourself on an enemy. Again, you don't really see a read in here. Page 171. When you want to pray to the sun. When you want to pray to the sun and ask for anything from him, such as asking for grace from the king, matches what the Key of Solomon says for the sun, and the friendship of lords and lordships, and how to acquire them. Make the sun fortunate, and put him on the ascendant, so rising in the east, and do this in his day and hour. Dress yourself, so it's talking about dressing, dress yourself in royal vestments of yellow and golden silk. So dress yourself in royal vestments of yellow and golden silk, your clothes, and put a crown of gold on your head when you wish to invoke the sun. Put a crown of gold on your head, and likewise a golden ring on your finger. Anyways, it goes on and on and on. It's just interesting, and I'm going to go more into this. For Venus, dress and adorn yourself is said above. Let's see here. It says to dress like a beautiful woman. For Mercury, when you want to pray to Mercury and ask him for one of the petitions that pertain to him, such as the petitions of scribes and regencies of kings, dress yourself in the garments of a notary or scribe. So what is all this about? You don't literally have to dress like a planet to invoke it. But the idea here is to use correspondences to attract and draw the energies of the planet. Like attracts like. So by having the color, let's say you're invoking Mars, a red altar cloth, maybe dress in red. Or if you want to work with Venus, have some Venusian flowers, have some roses on the altar. Okay, and the color green is associated with Venus from the Key of Solomon, and that became incorporated in the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn and all that. For Saturn, black. Maybe have an onyx on the altar, onyx stone, or carry an onyx, make an onyx amulet. You're taking the things that are associated with the planet, and you're drawing down. So the ritual and the talisman is like the matter. And you're drawing down the spiritual forces. So you have the matter, now you draw the spiritus. You're making a vessel to now receive the powers of the stars and planets. And what you have here is a threefold world, the three worlds of Agrippa, following the three books of occult philosophy. You have the realm here below, which is the material realm at the bottom. At the top, you have the divine realm of Platonic ideas and archetypes. And in the middle, you have the astrological realm. It's like a sandwich. And so every stone, every plant is associated with a certain star. And when we look out at the heavens, it is a reflection of the divine outpouring. It is a glimpse into the mind of God. When we look out at the stars, it's like a doorway to the intelligences and powers beyond. So what we're doing is we're capturing divine powers and stones and talismans, or we're drawing spiritual powers into a spirit evocation. So we might call that spirit into a scrying stone and have a face-to-face communication with a spirit. I've had very interesting experiences with scrying and spirit communication. Some of the most amazing experiences of my life. I wouldn't trade magic for anything in the world. I couldn't imagine not having these experiences that just were so transformative, because there's nothing like it. The stuff is, in my opinion, I don't want to tell other people what to think, but when you have that contact, you know it. This stuff is real, in my opinion, and it's amazing. Talking to something like that, you know. So whether you're drawing a spirit into it to communicate through a scrying apparatus and spirit evocation, or whether you're trying to capture that energy in a talisman. So this is the modus operandi a little bit. This is kind of the technology of magic from the Renaissance. And it was not just this modern psychological. I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's a little biased because we tend to see everything as mentalism, as just intention and just thoughts. But in the classical worldview, that's not all it was. You were also interacting with energies and astrological forces and timing. They wouldn't have gone through all the efforts of finding the right astrological time if they thought they can just have horrible conditions and still make a talisman because they believed it. They believed that all these things work together. You had natural magic just working with intention and stones and crystals. And then you had the if you wanted to add a little extra oomph to your workings, you do astrological timing. And if you wanted to take it a step beyond, not everybody worked with spirits and stuff. But it also you could call upon the divine powers that lie beyond. And so adding kind of a spirit model to the consciousness and energy model. So this is kind of the Renaissance views of magic, which is different to a degree from modern magic perspectives. Most people nowadays, because we live in modern times, of course we're going to have a modern bias. But magicians and occultists nowadays, we have more of a modern mindset. But I think it's useful, whether or not you agree, to kind of understand more of a classical Renaissance mage perspective. What would a mage in the Renaissance, what would a mage in the 16th century do for ritual? So I think it's pretty fascinating, and even though I'm a modern magician, looking back to the past to feed our practices. We're not bound by the past. We're not going to avoid something because they didn't do that back then. No, I believe in more of an innovative approach, but drawing from the past, and maybe they have something of wealth to offer us in their perspective. So anyways, I'm going to go more into like classical Renaissance magic and getting into some of this stuff. And FFA says, hello there. Hi, Gypsy. Hello, everybody. Hello, Agyamong. All right, y'all. Dina and Max. Thank all of y'all for joining me on my live. Again, I'm going to upload this to YouTube as well. My Facebook people need to go to my YouTube. And my YouTube people need to go to my Facebook, especially if you want to catch me live. Hit the follow button on my face. If you're on Facebook anyway, you know, hit the follow button. And, you know, it's the same as a friend request. I have reached the 5,000 mark, but you can still follow. It's the same thing. You see all my stuff. But anyway, so that's it for now. And a lot more coming out, you know. We're getting little doses of classical magic in these videos. So thank you so much for joining me. And I will see y'all in the next video. Have a great day, y'all.